is very strong. The question though that I had dealt with something that you said at the very beginning when you brought up the Rembrandt painting regarding Virgil contemplating the bust of Homer. And this might be maybe a bit more trivial of a question, but it really was something I wanted to just throw out there. I had always confronted the idea that it was Aristotle contemplating the bust of Homer, and you know, you were the first person who ever introduced to me the idea that it might not be Aristotle at all, but more likely Virgil, and so I thought it was proven, and I looked into it, and sure enough, it was not proven at all. It was never proven. It's all just people speculating, you know, who it might be. But Virgil seems to be a pretty strong one, and what you've said indicates that you've really thought about this. Can you say a little bit more how you came to the conclusion that Virgil was this timocratic being that was like that had sight but couldn't see compared to Homer? Could you say anything more about that?
Oh, I could talk for another hour, but I don't think people will want me to. I'll try to be short, but as you can see, I love Homer and I really hate Virgil. I can't stand reading his. So for me, this painting was just so obvious. Now, you got to know who Virgil was. So Virgil lived from 70 BC to 19 BC. Okay. So right around the beginnings of the Roman Empire. So Virgil was commissioned. He was paid by Caesar Augustus to write an epic about Rome, right? Pax Romana, the peace of Rome, the Roman Empire, to give it legitimacy. And Virgil spent about 10 years writing it before he died. In the end, he takes the, oh, is that Warfield? Hi. He's interested too. So he goes back to the War of Troy. But Virgil sides with not the Greeks, the Trojans. And so Aeneas somehow was able to escape from Troy, and he made it with his family to Rome and beat up the people that lived there and then established Rome. And that's how we got the Roman Empire, that he tries to say it's directly connected to the Trojans, which is all crap. He made the whole thing up. So he never in his book, the Aeneid, which he gets the ideas to start it from Homer in his Iliad, he doesn't mention Homer once in the whole book. Homer to him doesn't exist. Okay, how does he describe Odysseus? Odysseus, here I got it right. Odysseus is a heartless schemer, a master craftsman of crime. He's double talking. He really hates Odysseus. I mean, I read the Odyssey. I thought Odysseus was the one guy who actually changed, but Virgil just hates him. And so you have this problem that you see it with Dante. Dante never read Homer. They didn't translate Homer from Greek into Latin until about 20, 30 years after Dante had died. So he had to rely on Virgil to get an idea of Odysseus. And if you've read Dante's Divine Comedy, he puts Odysseus in hell. He is not a fan of Odysseus. But Dante, brilliant as he was, he had Virgil leading him, you know, through hell, purgatory. Sorry, Virgil, you can't go into paradise. You can't. So he understood the flaw in Virgil, even though he had never read Homer. He knew it. I wish he had been able to read Homer. And, well, I tell you, the Divine Comedy would be totally different. But to see that in Dante, where he understood that conflict in Virgil, it, you know, listening to all these classes on Rising Tide and our Wednesday evening club, the the way Dr. Kwan Le talks about, the aristocratic man, the timocratic man, when he said that, I just said, that is Virgil. He's in both worlds. He's got one hand on Homer's head. He's trying to figure out, how did he do it? I got to understand how to write poetry. But, he's got the other hand on his gold saying, well, you know what? I'm being paid by the Roman Empire here. I can't really go out on a limb against them. So for me, seeing that painting, it was there. Aristotle, well, you could use it in the same way to show the difference between the thinking of Aristotle and Homer, but there's no story. With Virgil and Homer, this, right? What are we taught in school? Oh, you want to learn Greek and Latin classics. No, you don't. You want to learn the Greek classic. Take all these Latin classics, throw them in the garbage. As far as I'm concerned, there's nothing there. There's not one thing that the Roman Empire did to advance civilization, except ideas they stole from everyone else that they conquered. But we want Greco-Roman architecture. We want Greek and Roman literature. So for me, that painting says it all. He's got one hand on Homer's head, one hand on his wallet. And that's the timocratic man.
No, that's fantastic. That's exactly what I was hungry for. And Jerry, if you want to compose into a written word that argument, we would love to publish that on Rising Tide in a split second. I've never seen it put the way you just did. That's great. Really good.
I tried to write it if I didn't get so emotionally upset about it, but I will try. Yeah. I definitely will try. But you can see why I hate Virgil.
It's more clear now.
Yeah.
All right.
There's no soul. There's no soul. It's like Kwan says, he knows that man should be honorable, but you just want the appearance to look. It's like our politicians today, right? Mm-hmm. You have to appear to be honorable. You don't have to be honorable, right? You got that,
you're saying like there's nothing analogous to the quality of transformation of a character from lesser to better as you see it in Homer. You don't see that, is what you're saying, in Virgil's writings. It's about the veneer behavior.
No, it's yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's
interesting.
It's to give an excuse to the Roman Empire for its existence. We're from Troy. We have this is our myth. We can. It's not. It's anyway.